I think the video shows the progress that he's made. A child who didn't walk till he was almost 3 years old is reading and riding his bike and doing amazing things. But I want to end today. I have people ask me questions often, and one of the main questions I get asked, I just thought I would share with you. One is, how did you do it? How did you get through it? And of course, God carried us through it. We didn't walk through it. God had to carry us through it because things were really bad there for a while. But he did. He got us through it. Philippians 4:6 was a verse that stayed with me the entire time. We had to sit through a 10-hour surgery. The first surgery was 7 hours, and the second was 10. And this verse is what got me through that 10 hours. And it says, do not worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Well, my child, I'm worried about him. But God says, don't worry. So I would. Every time I would start to pray, I just start praying. And when I didn't have the words to say to God, because sometimes I didn't even know what to say. I would just hum or just sit there. And God knew my heart. So it didn't matter what words I was saying. He knew what was in my heart. And every hour, the nurse would call and give us an update on him. So that's how we got through that part. And of course, I don't know if you saw in the video, there was a blanket that was over his crib in the first video. That was a prayer blanket that we made before he left. And some of your prayers were on there. And we took an iron and ironed all the prayers on there. And that was a blessing to have because I could sit in a hospital room and just have the blanket over him and just read prayers over it and over to him. So those are things that helped us get through the hard time. A lot of people will say it's easy for you to have faith because you got your miracle. Well, what about people who did not receive their miracle? And what I say is, I got my miracle, but my miracle happened to be here on this earth. All Christians will get their miracle one day. And you always have to have faith, no matter how dark the days got. We always had faith. We always knew that God was in control. So I would tell people, just continue to have faith because you never know what's going to happen from day to day. And then another question that I get asked a lot is, how were you able to make such a difficult decision? And it was through prayer and faith, of course. Every time one door closed, another door opened, another doctor, another test. There was always something that we think, oh, this is the end, but it wasn't. Something always came. And what would you tell others who are going through a difficult time? And I would tell them just to never give up, to trust God, to have faith, because you never know what kind of miracle He wants to do in your life. Because God is still in the miracle business. I think Jaden is proof that God is still making miracles today. He still has effects from the surgery. He will always have right side of weakness. He will always have trouble using his right hand, and that's something that we struggle with. He asks me often, Mom, when am I going to get two lefties? Because he knows his left hand works and his right hand doesn't. He's too young to understand how much of a blessing it is if that hand doesn't work correctly. And I can't tell you how thankful I am that he even realizes that his right hand doesn't work correctly, but it's just hard to explain that to a 5-year-old. But one day he'll understand that. So I'm just thankful that Jaden is alive with us today. We didn't know if he would make it to see his 5th year birthday, and he is here. So Jaden, will you come up here? I just want you to see. And him walking down here. Tell everybody hi.
Hi, Dave.
Hey,
Thank y'all for having us here today. And I hope that we were able to see kind of how God got us through our journey, and I hope that you were blessed by our story.
Thank you.